This is Ian R. Crane on Saturday 31st of August 2013. It's a little over 36 hours since the historic vote against David Cameron's call to join the US in unleashing a cruise missile hell on the civilian population of Syria. The British media is having a field day, particularly of course the right-wing media, claiming that this is the end of a special relationship with the United States of America. Well, this is a special relationship that I think the vast majority of the British people would be quite happy to let go, considering that it seems to lead us into conflict after conflict and continue to ignite and escalate global warfare. Over the last 50 or so years, the administration of the United States and their mercenary military have been responsible for more deaths than every other nation on the planet combined. Let's not forget that it's the United States that unleashed a phenomenal amount of Agent Orange on the civilian population of Vietnam. At a conservative estimate, this led to the deaths of over 1 million Vietnamese civilians and caused something in excess of 400,000 birth defects. Then since 1991, the amount of depleted uranium that the United States military has unleashed in the Middle East defies belief. One, when Norman Schwarzkopf learned that the US military was not going to be able to go all the way to Baghdad, he reputedly turned to a journalist and said, "We might not be going to Baghdad, but we've poisoned their water supply for the next millennia." Then we have the atrocity associated with the phosphorus weapons used in Fallujah, and of course also used by the Israelis against the civilian population of Gaza. The travesty of the weapons in the hands of a socio-psychopathic globalist elite defies belief. Their desire to use them, the desire of governments to support this use, is absolutely incredible. The British people let it be known to their elected representatives that they did not support this warmongering, and the right-wing media is becoming an irrelevance. And you're watching this because you have an interest in what is going on in the global arena, and you have an awareness that our politicians are being manipulated and railroaded into keep supporting illegal global conflict. Consequently, this is a call for action. A call for action in the UK and also in the US. But let's focus on the UK first. In the UK, regardless of who is your sitting MP, regardless of which party they represent, it is time to engage with them. It is time to make sure that we not only share with them the information that is freely available, if of course you choose to look, which counters the lies and the deceit that is perpetrated by what passes for the mainstream media. Let's ensure that our elected representatives are in possession of the alternative information, that they are forced to consider that they are not necessarily being presented with the facts by the civil servants and by their party leaders. We also need to make the effort to go visit those MPs. Let's make a point of visiting their surgeries, spending time with them, sharing information about specific issues. It's absolutely critical now, in the first instance, that we focus on the alternative information that is coming out of the Middle East. In the US, John Kerry is playing the role that William Hague had been playing in the UK as lead warmonger. John Kerry, just like William Hague, is seriously compromised. John Kerry compromised himself the moment that he laid in the coffin as part of the induction ceremony of Skull and Bones. In the US, Skull and Bones is in the ascendancy of the alternative hierarchy. Bonesmen playing both sides of the discussion in the US, trying to convince the American people that there is real political debate when in reality there is none. And just like in the UK, I call upon the Americans who are watching this video to get off their butts, get away from their TVs, get away from their computers, and make representation to their elected representatives. We have the tools at our disposal right now. I'm not sure for how much longer, but we have access to the internet. We have access to a phenomenal alternative community. The number of people around the globe who are now researching and looking at the information that counters the deceit and the deception and the obfuscation being put out by their respective governments and their puppet media. Instead of sitting down at the computer, reading the information and then descending into the depths of depression because we feel so helpless, but collectively we can be awesome. It is time for humanity to unite against those who consider themselves to be the rightful rulers of a planetary fiefdom. I have lived and worked in many, many countries around the world. I have never come across belligerence. It's remarkable that when people get into high office, they seem to embrace a form of mental illness. If you or I walked around the streets threatening to kill one person, then we would be arrested, and rightly so. And potentially we would be sectioned and put into psychiatric care. But if you go onto the world stage and talk about the need to kill hundreds or thousands or hundreds of thousands, then you are regarded as a statesman and even offered such recognition as Nobel Peace Prizes. There's an absurdity here that definitely needs to come to a halt. And the only people who can bring it to a halt are us, collective humanity.
I understand the frustration involved in being awake to the evil reality that surrounds us, only too well, frustration from knowing the truth.